And welcome to This Day. It is Saturday, February 7th. I'm Michael Taylor. Glad to be here with you on the show. And as always, if it's a Saturday, I'm right here at the desk. One of my favorite places to be on a Saturday. On our show today, we have Dr. John Hovannisian from Harvard Eye Associates coming in. We're going to talk about macular degeneration, the two different types of them, the treatments, and what they mean for you, and how to actually do maybe some prevention as well. And then later in the program, we'll be talking with Theater Guild's very own Sandy O'Connor. They got an event coming up. You're going to want to hear about it, so stay tuned for that as well. Right now, though, we want to talk about our Stay Informed, and it's an important one for widows and widowers. It is an event coming up on March 15th, 7 p.m., and they do this every 2 months over at the 19 restaurant, and tickets are free with a donation to the Laguna Woods Foundation. And it's really just an opportunity for widows and widowers to come together and be supported, talk about what they're going through, have some meaningful connections, and comforting one another through the pain of being a widower and widower. So it's an important thing to talk about and find that community that can support you when you're going through these things, when you've lost that loved one and your significant other in your life. You can do reservations and confirmation only, so make sure you do that ahead of time. The information is there to make sure that you can get a spot in there, and they'll be knowing you're coming, and look forward to that supportive group. All right, folks, let's talk about our weather forecast, and we've got some great temperatures for the next couple days. Today, 74 degrees, and Super Bowl Sunday, the big game tomorrow, it's going to be 79 degrees for us here in Southern California. We're watching them play up in San Francisco, and then 73 on Monday, and we got a little chance of marine layer kind of moving in and giving us some drizzle, a lot cooler, back in the 60s, more temperate temperatures for this time of year. We are supposed to be in winter, so we can't have 70s and 80s forever. So back into the 60s for Tuesday and Wednesday. All right, let's take a look at our sunrise, sunset. There's some beautiful sunny skies down there in Jalisco, Mexico. Thank you very much, Dennis Harper, for sending us this picture from his travels through Mexico. We've seen a couple of pictures from Dennis, and these have just been great shots, beautiful places he's been visiting. Sunrise this morning was 6:43, sunset tonight, 5:28. If you have a picture like Dennis, we'd love to see it. He's gone around everywhere, but you can send us pictures from right here in the community, pets, places, whatever it might be. We love to use them. Email us, lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. Make sure you include your name, where you took the picture, and we'll use it in our sunrise, sunset segment. Okay, going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be talking to Dr. John Hovannisian from Harvard Eye Associates. Stay with us.
When it comes to life's most important medical challenges, where do you go? Welcome to the Hoag Institutes. Our top-ranked physicians are experts in diagnosing and treating the most complex medical conditions. Unparalleled expertise, world-class care, all within the Hoag Institutes, right here in OC.
Your eyes let you see the world, every smile, every sunset, every moment.
At Harvard Eye Associates, our team of specialists is here to protect your vision.
From cataracts and glaucoma to retina and cornea care, we offer the latest treatments with a compassionate touch.
For over 50 years, you've trusted us with your eyes. We're honored to care for them for years to come.
Harvard Eye Associates, the future of vision today.
And from Harvard Eye Associates, I want to welcome, as always, Dr. John Hovannisian to the program. Thanks for being here.
Great to see you, Michael. How are
Great to
things?
see you. Good. Things are well. Things are well. We're going to talk about a subject, macular degeneration, today. It actually affects my mother, so I know I know this subject a little bit more than anybody else, I guess, on this side of the thing, talking to an expert. So it affects the retina, and it's degenerative. So let's talk about what the retina does in the first place and why it's so impactful.
Yeah, so if we think of the eye as a camera, and by the way, you know, it's not surprising. If we have older relatives, we have people in our lives who have AMD. My father-in-law has macular degeneration, and it's the only good thing about it is, of course, that I get to see him regularly when he comes into the office, and we get to have lunch. But The retina is the back of the camera. It's the film in the eye. You know, we've got a lens and a cornea that help focus light, and then this is the sensor. And in a healthy retina, we don't think about it. Those rods and cones cells that process information, light that comes in, tell our brain what we're seeing. But when you have an unhealthy retina, which can happen with age, changes happen. So there's a picture we have that kind of shows what normal looks like, and when we look through the eye into the back, this is what we see in the retina. And in dry macular degeneration, we see deposits of proteins and other waste products of the cells. So in dry mac degen, there's an accumulation of waste products that leads to loss of functioning, if it persists enough, of the cells, and eventually sometimes complete loss of the supporting tissues for the retina, and we lose vision.
Now, do we know why those waste products, something that maybe the body should be discharging out through the neural processes, are ending up there? What's the root of that?
Yeah, well, it's a great question, and it's a super complicated answer because, like everything else related to aging, it's a lot of things. You know, there's oxidative process, oxidative stress on cells. There's other just UV light damage. There's a genetic component of it. And just the number of years you've been around, cells seem to sort of wear out. And so we can talk later about how you prevent macular degeneration with some simple things you can do. But it's complicated, and that makes it hard to reverse.
Now, in the office, when I do my regular exam, sometimes they'll take that picture of my retina, say everything looks good. And now, well, when you look at that, can you start to say, okay, we're starting to see some signs, or you are a candidate for, or are there things that you can see that, hey, we need to watch this?
Often we see signs of drusen, or these deposits in the retina, build up for many years before there's any threat of functional loss. So we kind of do see this disease coming much of the time when it happens. Then there's the wet form of the disease, where you have a breakdown of the barriers and leakage of fluid into the retina, and sometimes bleeding into the retina that will cause very rapid deterioration of vision, loss of function.
And that's what my mother had. She had the bleeding, and they said there's kind of nothing we can do basically at that point.
So actually there's a lot we can do about it, but it depends upon her situation. She may be one that has a circumstance that the normal drugs don't work. It's worth saying that when you lose vision from macular degeneration, you never lose all your vision. You never lose your peripheral vision. In the center, what you're looking at, the macula gives you the detail vision you have. When I'm looking at your mug, I'm seeing that with my macula, and then you in the periphery blurry with the rest of my retina. And so you lose that detail. So you may lose the ability to read well, or sew or do other detailed tasks.
Things like that.
Driving, yeah, that's right. It's affected because we have to see road signs. We have to look and see pedestrians and things that are not, that require attention.
So the difference between wet and dry exactly is?
So it's a question of whether there's leakage of fluid into the retina. If there's leakage of fluid into the retina, or whether it's blood or just what we call serous fluid, like plasma, that's the wet form of disease. In the dry form, it actually breaks down into further categories beyond just dry. There's a form that's more advanced called geographic atrophy. And in geographic atrophy, what we have, and we'll talk about why this is important in a second, we lose broad areas of the retinal function. It's almost like the badness sort of coalesces into these islands of lost function. And in many cases when that occurs, it can proceed quickly enough that it will destroy central vision within a few years. And so we now, because we have some treatments for it, we pay attention to this.
Okay. So let's talk about treatments. What can be done for dry? What can be done for wet? And are they the same or different?
Yeah, so we've had for more than 10 years some very good drugs to treat wet macular degeneration. Most of your patients most of our viewers who have it are probably seeing someone like your mom is, seeing a doctor, may or may not be getting injection treatment. It is an injection, it's not painful, and it is a regular treatment, anywhere from every month to every 3 or 4 months. It's required to see a doctor and have a treatment. Having said that, it's not painful, and it really does stop the disease from getting worse in cases that are amenable to
But it's one of those things that you're committing to doing this unless you say, okay, enough, and then there's going to be progression, right?
Yeah, that's right. So, each patient has a conversation with their retina specialist about how are we going to approach this, and what drugs are we going to use, how often, how much of a commitment is this going to be? And it is potentially a lifelong commitment to get in and have treatments. But if you consider the value of your vision, for many patients, it's well worth it.
Right.
And that's the wet form.
And then the geographic atrophy treatments?
So we now have, for the dry form of the disease, the best thing we could say is try to prevent it from getting worse. And just to cover those things, eat a salad every day, maybe take a multivitamin, don't smoke. When you're outdoors and it's sunny, wear some sunglasses that give you UV protection. And, live a good life, take good care of your body, right? Those are the main things that you can control. But now for the geographic atrophy form of dry macular degeneration, we have some treatments. They are injections, and they may eventually be pills that halt the progression, or let's say slow the progression of the geographic atrophy, and that's important.
Okay. Now, if someone has this wet, there's no treatment for it now, but is there a possibility that in the future there could be some sort of reversal, or is it just once those retina areas are damaged, they're just gone?
No, so there's always possibility, and there's always hope, and there is a lot of active research. Much of it centered on stem cell therapy, where we can take cells that are what we call undifferentiated, cells that haven't yet become retina cells. They could become a retina cell or a fingernail cell, or any other type of cell, and then they sort of get trained by the local tissue to become retina cells, and then replace that complex tissue. It's why we can't repair a spinal cord, but we're working on ways, and we're making progress, and the retina is the same.
Okay, and tell me about neurotech.
Yeah, so there's a company called Neurotech, and this is not about one company so much as about breakthroughs that are happening in treatment. So we've said already that you got maybe monthly injections, but better things are on the way. So here's a company who is addressing a very specific disease that most people don't have, called macular telangiectasia, a little different from macular degen. But they've invented an encapsulated cell therapy. So it's this tiny implant that goes in the eye, and you can think of it like a cellular factory that goes in the eye, and inside this little encapsulated, think of it like a capsule, are a bunch of cells that are trained to produce the drug that treats this disease. And so they're continuously releasing it, so the drug transits out of the capsule and gets to treat the eye. The cells remain inside, and for we think forever, potentially, these cells, as long as they're receiving oxygen and nutrients, just like the eye is receiving anyway, those will permeate inside the capsule. The cells will create the drug. It'll go outside the capsule, and so you have there a treatment where you don't need to go back and have injections repeatedly for this disease. And it's very clear that the company is going to pursue macular degeneration and other treatments with this encapsulated cell therapy. That's just one company and one cool technology, and there are lots of others. So when you talk about hope for the future for our patients, we're super excited, and we're lucky because here in Orange County, we're kind of in the Silicon Valley of eye care. So we get,
I like that.
We're aware of and have access to it before most other docs.
Now, some people might ask, like myself or your wife, does it pass along to generations? Is it genetic? Going to be passed along?
You bet. And so my wife gets her annual eye exams, and both wet and dry, the whole category. And the same we know is true of diabetes. The same is true of glaucoma and cataracts and a variety of other things. And so it's the reason why if you're really over 40 or certainly over 50, you should have an annual eye exam with a qualified doctor to make sure your eyes stay healthy and to get these treatments early before the disease takes your vision away.
All right, well, when I get to 40, I'll start thinking about
that.
That's
right. Yeah, you got to lose 10 or 15 years.
Dr. John Hovannisian from Harvard Eye Associates, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good to see you, my friend.
You're watching ThisDay. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jay Miner with Assisted Living Locators of South Orange County. If you're starting to worry about your safety at home or about a loved one who may be struggling, you don't have to take the next steps alone. I've toured every assisted living and memory care community in our area, and I can help you find the right fit. I'll do the research, make all the phone calls, and set up all the tours. And my services are at no cost to you. Let's make sure that you or your loved one have the care, comfort, and peace of mind that you deserve. Give me a call today.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. The Theater Guild is getting ready for their next performance with Moki Lund and her ensemble, Romance in the Woods. Here to tell us all about the details and to discuss more, we welcome Sandy O'Connor and Moki Lund herself.
Oh, hi.
In the flesh. What a pleasure. Thank you, ladies, for joining me this morning and here to talk about your event. Moki, I just want to touch briefly on your background. How did you become a professional singer?
It started in San Diego at, so long ago. The San Diego Hilton. I was a part of a group called the People Movers. And I was there for maybe 3-4 years. Mm-hmm. And from there, I went on tour with Denise Williams. It's a backup singer with her. And right before that, I was one of the main vocalists for the 94.7 Wave, the radio station.
Right, right.
When they first started, I was one of the main singers. So along with Philip Ingram, who was James Ingram's brother. Lots of just incredible people. On tour, I got to meet Stan Getz, did one little bloop with him. And oh my gosh, it's just, as I talk, there's so many things that I've done. Wolfman Jack, you're probably too young to know. Jack.
Famous, though. Famous.
And just going on tour and just doing my own thing. Mm-hmm. Traveling to Japan, to Europe.
So this love of music, did it start when you were just a little girl, or did you grow into it? How did that develop?
I've always wanted to sing, and I sang around the house, and my mother loved music, so she was a big fan of Johnny Mathis and Brooke Benton and Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, and we had music all the time. And I used to pretend, when everybody was asleep, I would sneak out of the bed and go out on the front porch with the broom.
Oh my goodness. So you were just born
my
natural.
little jazz, yeah.
It was her thing,
It was
right?
my thing. Yeah.
And then eventually you found yourself here in Laguna Woods
Found
Village.
myself, it was supposed to be a little quiet thing.
It's supposed to be. I think Sandy was going to tell us how it's not very quiet.
Yeah.
Right, and it's also wonderful because she has done many things in the village as well. But this is a very special night. It's a cabaret setting, so even though we're doing it at Clubhouse 5, we're reversing it to the back of the room in a riser and a group of her 3 musicians, and it's going to be a lovely evening. When we say cabaret, we set the room up differently so it's very intimate. And we will actually be having a lovely dessert that's being provided by Chopin Bakery, very popular place here in the woods, near the woods. And we're also going to have sparkling wine and sparkling cider. And we're decorating everything to give it a really lovely setting for the evening. And one of the things that we want to stress is it's love songs in the woods, as Moki told me. This is what we want, what she wanted. And so it's not just love songs with relationships, it's family and friends, and all of these songs resonate with people regardless of what it is for.
Right,
you know,
right.
And so
So we'll just continue on the Valentine's Day theme.
right,
love
just
theme.
right. Why not celebrate the whole month, you know? And you can buy tickets on our website, theaterguildlw.com, and we do have, you can buy a reserved table. So we have a lot of opportunities for people to come, and we're planning on having a beautiful night.
Yes, I'm looking forward
Sounds absolutely lovely. Now, you don't have to be a member of the theater club to join this
No.
evening, do you?
No, it's primarily members, but non-members, we have a lot of non-members who actually live here, who come to our meetings and our events. So definitely, in this case, everybody will pay the same price because of obviously some musicians and other people we want to support. So it's going to be $20 per person, and it's really going to be very special.
And what time does it start?
It's going to be starting, the doors are going to open at 6:30, And then the music will start at 7. And I would assume we're going to go about, what, an hour and a half?
At least, because I like to tell stories and talk. I'm
Right.
not almighty, talk about all of the people that
Well,
I
you have
really
such a
work with.
fascinating history.
Doesn't
and,
she?
And
Yeah.
for you, with all of the talent that you're blessed with, for you to end up, in front of the community here, I think it's so special.
Yeah. Well, this is a special place to be.
Yeah.
To perform.
And she does tell beautiful stories about her life and career, and that's always fun. Always fun to hear.
Absolutely. What other contemporary influences shaped your either thoughts and or career?
Mostly the musicians that I worked with.
Yeah.
They were all just stellar. A lot of them are already, some have passed away, but a lot of them are still performing and doing their own thing. But I love the old standards.
They're just classic, right?
Yeah, I love them. And I was listening to, the Dave Brubeck 5 tape. I was listening to that. And I was just thinking, all the great music, the influences, people that have influenced me over the years, like Al Jarreau, who was...
He was wonderful.
He was stellar. And as a matter of fact, we were kind of performing in the same era, an area in Beverly Hills. But he went on to he was singing in a place called the Blah Blah Club.
The Blah Blah.
Isn't that great? And he became really famous.
Yes, he was
really
just
famous.
He was just wonderful. He and his wife Susan used to come in and support me. I was playing at a place called the Chopping Block, and they would just come in, and then he'd leave, and he'd go and work at the Blah Blah. And then the next thing I know, he's just like this
big star.
Wow.
Hit albums.
Yes, he was just an amazing
concerts. And she's worked with so many. And that one woman that you worked with that is so famous.
Oh, you mean Denise?
Yeah, Denise.
Denise Williams. Whatever happened to her?
She's still performing. She's doing her own thing. So.
Yeah. Now, with Romance in the Woods, are these your own compositions,
No.
or are they?
They're old from standards to some pop songs that are romantic songs that I.
But you have released your own.
I do.
Also, right?
I meant to bring the CD.
Oh, we'd love to see it. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, and but yeah, I do.
So, any other members of your family that were blessed with such talent, or were you the only one?
I'm the only one that's pursued it professionally.
Okay.
My 2 older sisters and I used to pretend we were the Marvelettes or the Supremes. And did some little things at home in front of the mirror.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, where else do you practice, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. You got to work the moves and
Of course.
But no, I'm the only one that really pursued it.
Yeah.
And it was by accident. I started doing jingles, and it just kind of progressed from there. Just doing the Budweiser theme, McDonald's. I mean, just goes on.
Yeah,
Carrying beer.
Quite the resume.
Yeah.
What was your favorite? If you look back on everything you've done, what was one thing that that stands out still?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I think the one thing, it wasn't, oh my gosh.
Sorry.
That's hard, isn't
Think about
it?
it, come back.
Very, very difficult.
When you have such a long and wonderful career.
Yeah.
I think it was performing, my last performance here, the Theater Guild put on my very first.
Oh, thank you
And
so much.
it was so amazing for me. It was just, I've done a lot of things, but this was very, very special because I felt like people were in my living room. and I was performing and talking to them. We were
So
having
that
fun.
kind of takes you back to when you were a little girl.
And that's why this setting is, our setting is set up that way so that it is an
Yeah.
intimate kind of
Yeah.
I love it.
setting.
All right, you two. Romance in the Woods, Thursday.
February
February
19th,
19th.
Clubhouse 5.
Doors open at 6:30.
And $20 per person, and you can book it on theaterguildlw.com, and there is information on there how to mail a check if that's what you prefer.
Sandy Moki, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
A wonderful performance.
It will be,
Yes.
won't it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You're watching This Day on Village TV. We'll be back after these messages.
We believe every senior should be able to remain healthy, happy, and at home. At Caring Senior Service, we understand the value of compassion and companionship. Our caregivers promote health, happiness, and independence. We cook nutritional meals, engage in meaningful activities, run errands, do light house cleaning, and more. Call us toll-free at 833-926-3700 or visit our website, CaringSeniorServiceLW.com. Healthy, happy home. Caring Senior Service.
And welcome back to the program. We've got a great movie for Saturday. It's The Dirty Dozen, starring Lee Marvin. And I'll mention Jim Brown since it is Super Bowl weekend. He's in that one as well. I mean, it's a cavalcade of stars in this one. Donald Sutherland, lots more. It's brought to us by City of Hope. It's going to be at 2 p.m. with the subtitles and 6 p.m. without the subtitles. During World War II, a rebellious U.S. Army major is assigned a dozen convicted murderers to train and lead them into a mass assassination mission of German officers. It is a wild movie. It has some fun moments in there as well, but lots of action. It's a great one as we lead up to the real action for tomorrow's Super Bowl Sunday. Okay. And then also, folks, we got some bonus movies for you. We got coming up on President's Day. We have at 8:30 in the morning, My Sister Eileen. That one stars Jack Lemmon. Look at that one. Looks like a fun one there. We won't be here, by the way. That's why we're telling you about this. And then at noon, I'll See You in My Dreams. That's a Doris Day picture. Look at that beautiful one. Doris Day classics. And then we always love to throw in a California's Gold. When we're not here, at least you can see Huell Hauser. And that's going to be California's Gold, and it's going to be visiting Anaheim, California, and that's going to be at 5 o'clock. I love watching Huell Hauser. Should be a fun day. That is going to be on February 16th. No This Day on President's Day, but we got some movies and some great shows for you in their place. All right, folks, let's take a quick check of the weather forecast before we head out. And we got some great temperatures for today, 74 degrees, 79 tomorrow for Super Bowl Sunday. Then we cool off starting on Monday, and look at that Tuesday, chance of drizzle. And then on Wednesday, 62 degrees as well. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this edition of This Day Monday on the program. We have assisted living and author Victoria Van Rossum coming in, so we'll look forward to that one. And Bree will be here as well. That's going to do it for this edition of This Day. I'm Michael Taylor. For all of us here at Village Television, we hope you make this day a great one.